When most people hear the name Cardi B, they immediately think of music charts exploding, award shows, red carpets, and viral Instagram moments. She is a larger-than-life figure, someone who built her career not only on her unique sound, but also on her unfiltered personality. But in recent times, the headlines surrounding Cardi B have not only been about music or fashion, they have been about the courtroom. And what took place during her trial is something that has kept fans and critics glued to every update. Imagine a star at the height of her career, standing in front of a jury, not on stage, but on a witness stand, cracking jokes and rolling her eyes as if the courtroom itself were another stage. This is exactly what has sparked endless debate, memes, and conversations around the world.
I was looking at her face, but I wasn't looking like, she got a pimple on her face? No, I wasn't looking at her details or anything.
Now, let us dive deep into the entire story. This is not just about a rapper facing legal troubles. This is about a celebrity navigating the fine line between fame law and personal reputation. And when Cardi B decided to approach her trial with her signature humor and unapologetic style, the world could not help but watch with fascination. At the heart of the trial is Cardi B herself, born Belcalis Marlenis Almanzar, who rose from humble beginnings in the Bronx to become one of the most recognizable faces in the music industry. She is known for being real, sometimes brutally so, and for never backing down from saying exactly what is on her mind. But when you are on the witness stand, things work differently. There are rules, expectations, and a level of seriousness that can decide the outcome of a case. Yet, Cardi B did not adjust herself to those standards. She brought her full personality into that courtroom, and that is what shocked many people. Observers described the scene as both entertaining and shocking. Here was a Grammy-winning artist, cracking jokes in front of a judge, rolling her eyes at the lawyers who questioned her, and even making comments under her breath that drew reactions from the audience inside. Some laughed, some gasped, and others shook their heads, wondering if Cardi B was taking the trial seriously at all. But if you know Cardi B, you know that humor is her armor. It is her way of dealing with pressure and perhaps her way of controlling the narrative even when she is not on her own stage. Now, trials are not entertainment, at least not in the legal sense. They are serious proceedings where lives, reputations, and millions of dollars can be at stake. But in today's world, where celebrity culture intersects with media in every way possible, even a trial becomes a kind of performance. And Cardi B is no stranger to performing. Every move she makes gets dissected by the press, every facial expression becomes a meme, and every word she utters echoes on social media within seconds. In that courtroom, she knew people were watching and she acted accordingly. But let us ask the big question, was this a smart move? When someone is facing legal consequences, most people are advised to be respectful, calm, and composed. Lawyers will tell their clients to avoid any antics that could give the wrong impression. Yet, Cardi B seemed to do the exact opposite. She leaned into her larger-than-life personality, almost daring the courtroom to adjust to her rather than the other way around. Some would call it reckless. Others would call it authentic. And that is where the debate begins. At one point during her testimony, when a lawyer pressed her with repetitive questions, Cardi B rolled her eyes so dramatically that the courtroom erupted with laughter. She followed it up with a sarcastic remark that made even the judge raise an eyebrow. Was this disrespect? Or was it simply Cardi B being Cardi B? It is hard to say. But one thing is clear, no one left that courtroom without remembering what she said and how she said it. That is the power of personality, and Cardi B has always wielded hers like a weapon. The trial itself was already high profile because of who she is, but her behavior on the stand amplified everything. Clips, quotes, and descriptions of her reactions spread like wildfire across the internet. Some fans defended her, saying that she should not be expected to hide who she really is just because she is in court. They argued that she was simply refusing to be intimidated by a system that often tries to silence bold voices. Others, however, criticized her for being childish, claiming that she was not taking the matter seriously enough and that her antics could end up backfiring. But let us step back for a moment. Cardi B is not just another celebrity in a legal dispute. She represents a new kind of star, one who built her career by being entirely herself, flaws and all, in a world that often demands perfection. From her early days on social media, she gained fans not by being polished, but by being raw, honest, and hilarious. And that is exactly the same energy she carried into the courtroom. Some may argue that it is not appropriate, but in her world, being fake would be worse than being inappropriate. As the trial continued, more moments like this unfolded. Whenever a lawyer tried to trip her up, Cardi B responded with wit rather than nervousness. When asked questions she felt were obvious, she smirked and gave answers laced with humor. And when she felt attacked, she defended herself with the same fierceness that has defined her career. Watching this play out felt like watching a battle of styles, the rigid, rule-based world of law against the unpredictable, outspoken world of celebrity. There's also another layer here. Cardi B has always faced judgment, not just for her actions, but for who she is. As a woman in hip-hop, as someone who openly talks about her past, and as a celebrity who refuses to fit into the mold of traditional stardom, She has always been criticized more harshly than others. In many ways, her trial performance can be seen as a statement. She was saying, "I will not tone myself down for anyone, not even a judge." For her fans, that was empowering. For her critics, it was reckless. But for everyone else watching, it was unforgettable. Now here is where things get even more interesting. The media frenzy around her behavior started to overshadow the actual details of the case itself. People were more focused on what she did on the stand than the charges, the evidence, or the possible outcome. This raises a bigger question about how we as a society consume news about celebrities. Do we care more about their personalities than the truth of the situations they are in? In Cardi B's case, it seemed that her jokes and eye rolls became the headline, not the trial itself. And maybe that was her plan all along. Cardi B understands media better than most. She knows that public perception can sometimes matter as much as legal judgment. By turning her trial appearances into unforgettable performances, she ensured that no matter what the verdict was, the story would always carry her spin. In other words, even in a courtroom, Cardi B managed to stay in control of her narrative. That is the kind of influence that only a few stars in history have ever had. But let us not romanticize it too much. There are real risks involved in behaving that way during a trial. Juries can interpret eye rolls and sarcasm as arrogance or lack of respect. Judges can issue warnings or even punishments for disruptive behavior. And in the long run, a celebrity's reputation can take a hit if people start believing that they treat serious matters as jokes. So while Cardi B's courtroom antics made headlines, they also put her in a delicate position. One wrong move could have had serious consequences. Still, it is impossible to deny the sheer boldness of it all. In a world where many celebrities carefully craft their images to appear flawless and untouchable, Cardi B stood in court and showed the same energy she shows in her music and on social media. She was funny, blunt, emotional, and unapologetically herself. And whether you loved it or hated it, you could not ignore it. That is why the story of her trial became bigger than the trial itself. This is where the story takes on a larger meaning. Cardi B's trial is not just about her. It is about how fame changes the rules of the game. For an ordinary person, cracking jokes in court could be seen as contempt. For Cardi B, it became viral entertainment. That double standard says a lot about how celebrity culture works in our time. Fame can bend the rules. It can turn even a courtroom into a stage. And Cardi B knows exactly how to use that to her advantage. But at the same time, this puts celebrities like her under an even harsher spotlight, because when you turn everything into a performance, people stop separating the real person from the act. Was Cardi B really being careless? Or was she strategically performing to the jury and the public? Was she genuinely frustrated, or was she using her personality as a shield? We may never know for sure, but one thing is clear: Cardi B has mastered the art of keeping people talking about her, no matter the context. The aftermath of her courtroom moments is still being felt. Social media continues to buzz with clips, memes, and debates. Some people see her as a queen who refuses to bow down to authority. Others see her as an irresponsible celebrity setting a bad example. But either way, her name dominates the conversation. And for someone like Cardi B, staying relevant is half the battle. By the time the trial wrapped up, people were less concerned with the outcome and more fascinated by the show she put on inside those walls. And maybe that is what Cardi B wanted all along. Because while the law has its own rules, the court of public opinion operates on a completely different system. And in that court, Cardi B knows exactly how to win. So what does this all mean in the bigger picture? It means that celebrities like Cardi B are rewriting the rules of fame. They are proving that authenticity, even when messy or controversial, can be more powerful than perfection. They are showing that in the age of social media, the performance never stops, not even in a courtroom. And they are reminding us that the line between entertainment and reality is blurrier than ever. In the end, Cardi B's trial will not just be remembered for its legal details. It will be remembered for the jokes, the eye rolls, the sass, and the way one of the world's biggest stars refused to change who she is, even in the most serious setting imaginable. Love her or hate her, you have to admit one thing: Cardi B knows how to turn any moment, even a trial, into something unforgettable. And maybe that is the real verdict here. The law will have its say, but in the story of fame, Cardi B already won.